We've been writing all of our lab notebooks and really everything that we need to do in this course in a plain text editor. And that's an excellent tool for writing stuff that is, in fact, plain text. But one of the things that we will sometimes do when we're doing things like learning a new programming language or trying to explore something new about a programming language that we know or trying to solve a problem where we don't actually know exactly what the right way to solve the problem is to try and explore things. And often the way that we try and explore things in a plain text editor with something like Java or Python or C is to make changes to our code, save the file, quit, compile it, and then run it, and then see what's changed. That is one way to work with code, but it's not the only way to work with code. We're going to take a look at a product or a tool that's called Jupyter. And what Jupyter is a way for us to have digital notebooks that are a little bit more dynamic than what we have been using in terms of a basic text editor. So right now I'm going to jupyter.org/tryjupyter/lab. Jupyter and Jupyter Notebook are a way for us to write Markdown documentation and to also do things like write Python. And it allows us to do this in a way that is going to let us explore how things work in a programming language. I'm going to start here by clicking this one. So this is under Notebook, and I'm choosing the Python or Pyadite option. The thing that we see here is called a cell, and this is patiently waiting for us to type something in, much in the same way that our text editor like VS Code is doing. One of the things that we can do with these cells is we can change their types. I'm going to actually change this one to Markdown, and I'm going to start typing stuff in here. This is my first notebook. I'm going to try some cool Python stuff, like declaring a variable, printing hello world, because we always got to do that first. Declaring a variable, calling a function. And if I press Control Enter on my keyboard, or if I press Alt Enter on my keyboard, Command Enter on my keyboard. So I'm on a Mac right now, so I have to press Command Enter. If you're doing this on a Linux or Windows machine, you press Control Enter. It takes that markdown that I wrote and it renders it, much in the same way that we were doing with VS Code or with Pandoc. I'm going to add a new cell, and in this one, I'm going to put some Python code. So I'm going to say print hello world. And I'm going to press Command Enter on my keyboard again, and this will actually run that code. I'm going to add a new cell here, and I'm going to change this to Markdown. And I'm going to start writing some documentation out. Now I want to try exploring declaring variables in my notebook. I know that variables are a way for me to keep information while a program is running. I'm going to declare a variable called name, and this is Markdown, so I'm going to put this in backticks, and I'm going to give it a value of my own name. I'm going to press Command Enter, and I'm going to add a new cell, and I'm going to say name is equal to Franklin. And I'm going to press Command Enter. Nothing really happens here as output because we've just declared a variable. I'm going to add a new cell. Now that I've declared this name variable, and I'll have to change my cell type back to Markdown, I want to use it by calling a function. The function I'm going to call is upper. The upper function will change my variable's content to all uppercase. Command enter. So now I'm going to add a new cell, and I'm going to say name dot upper like this, and I'm going to do command enter, and it in this case has really just changed, printed out a new copy of this with my name in it. That's not exactly what I wanted, so I'm going to say name is equal to name.upper. Now nothing appears as output, and notice how I'm able to just make changes to this and rerun it. So I've changed the code and I pressed command enter again. Now I'm going to change this to markdown and I'm going to write, okay, now I want to see the effect. So I'm going to print this value again, or this variable again. Command enter. I'm going to add a new cell. I'm going to make it code, and I'm going to say print. And this time I'm going to do an F string. So F, hello, and then name like this. And then I'm going to press command enter again. It says, hello, Franklin. Hello, Franklin. I'm going to actually edit this one. I want to say I'm going to print this variable again. I'm going to try using F strings so that I can embed variables inside the string that I'm printing. Command enter. This is it's a pretty powerful tool. We're able to do things like describe what we're doing in plain text and then run some code, and then describe more about what we're doing and then write some code, and then describe more about what we're doing and write some code. In this case, we realize that, actually I did something wrong and I need to change it. So I'm able to rewrite that same line of code and rerun it so that I can get these effects to happen. This is something that's called literate programming. And I'm going to go to Wikipedia for a second to describe this. Literate programming is a paradigm of software development that was designed or described by Donald Knuth. And the idea here is that you're going to take what you're thinking and just write it out, and then be able to put code inside of those explanations. Some of this happens in the form of us writing documentation for functions or methods in our code and writing comments in general. But Jupyter notebooks and digital notebooks like this kind of take it to a much more of an extreme that's a little bit closer to what Donald Knuth was talking about in terms of literate programming, where we can literally intersperse plain written text in Markdown format and code that we want to run in Python. This is a good way for us to explore new ideas, and is a good way for us to explain to other people what our code does and how it works.